Bondi Beach and Brown University. What these attacks teach us about personal safety. This past week, two violent attacks, one overseas and one here in the United States, shook communities who believed they were gathering in safe, familiar places. A Hanukkah celebration at Bondi Beach in Australia, a university classroom at Brown during finals week. Today isn't about headlines or politics. It's about extracting real-world safety lessons grounded in environment, human behavior, and decision-making, so we're better prepared tomorrow than we were yesterday. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge the lives lost and the families affected by the recent attacks at Bondi Beach and Brown University. These were tragic events, and our focus today is on understanding what we can learn from them, responsibly and respectfully. At Bondi Beach, families and community members gathered outdoors for a public Hanukkah celebration. Attackers positioned themselves near elevated pedestrian access points and opened fire on the crowd. Multiple people were killed and many more wounded. One civilian intervened and disarmed an attacker, an extraordinary act that likely saved many lives. At Brown University, the shooting occurred inside a normal academic building lecture hall during finals week. Students were inside a familiar classroom environment when violence erupted. Emergency alerts followed, buildings were locked down, and the campus was secured. These locations matter because environment shapes risk. Next, I want to show a little bit of the footage and talk about it. One thing the video footage does reveal, even before the investigations are complete, is how environment influences outcomes. Bondi Beach was an open-air public event with a large crowd gathered near the shoreline. And critically, there were elevated structures and pedestrian access points nearby. News reporting shows the attackers used positioning and line-of-sight advantage, not chaos or randomness. The crowd was dense and focused on celebration. Distraction and predictability created opportunity. The takeaway here is sightline awareness. When you attend large outdoor events, such as festivals, parades, holiday celebrations, take 10 seconds to scan above and around the crowd. Overpasses, balconies, stairways, and raised walkways matter. Those locations control visibility and movement. Second, understand crowd density versus mobility. The tighter the crowd, the harder it is to move quickly. If you have kids, elderly family members, or limited mobility, positioning yourself near edges and natural exits is a smart, quiet decision. Not fear, just planning. And finally, we saw a civilian intervene and disarm one attacker. That was a rare high-risk action that likely saved lives. But it also reinforces this point. Decisions under stress are shaped by awareness beforehand. Distance, cover, and escape are always the first priorities. Intervention is a last resort, not a plan. But here's the responsible takeaway. That decision was shaped by distance, timing, and opportunity, not impulse alone. That's why I emphasize intervention is a contingency, not a strategy. Awareness buys time, time creates options. Don't get me wrong, the man who intervened is absolutely a hero, and I'm sure he saved many lives. Now let's shift to the Brown University shooting. Very different environment. This attack happened inside a normal academic building during finals week. The doors were unlocked, according to the news. Students were focused, no immediate visual indicators of danger. That's important. The first takeaway here is controlled access matters. Unlocked buildings with predictable schedules create vulnerability. Schools and workplaces should constantly reevaluate when doors are open, who monitors access, and how quickly threats can move inside. Second is microenvironment awareness. When you enter a classroom, lecture hall, or office, mentally note two things. Where are my exits? And what can actually stop bullets? Now, I did a whole video on cover versus concealment. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a link in the description. So noticing these two things, folks, is not paranoia, it's baseline awareness. Third is alert systems and reaction time. Brown issued emergency alerts, but once violence starts, seconds matter. If you receive a shelter-in-place or active threat alert, don't wait for confirmation, act on the information you have. The lesson here isn't that campuses are unsafe, it's that routine environments lower our guard. Awareness doesn't mean fear, it means staying mentally present, even in familiar places. One of the hardest things about teaching safety is this: when awareness works, nothing happens. We don't see footage of the family that quietly repositioned near an exit. We don't see the student who chose a seat closer to a doorway. We don't see the parent who left early because something didn't feel right. But those decisions matter, and they compound. These attacks happened in different countries, under different laws, in different cultures. Yet the human factors were the same: routine, distraction, predictable behavior, and open access. That's why situational awareness isn't political, it's human. Preparedness isn't fear, it's responsibility. If this breakdown helped you think more clearly about your own safety, subscribe to the channel and check out my Defend Confidently resources below in the description. Thanks for watching, take care, and stay safe.